People say a man should slow down after 60, that it's time to rest, reflect, and let the younger ones take over. But for me, life began all over again at 62. At that age, when most choose comfort, I chose the hardest path. I sat out from China to India on foot, not for gold, not for glory, but for a book. Yes, a book, a sacred manuscript, the Vinay Pitaka, the basket of discipline, a guiding text for Buddhist monks containing rules laid down by the Buddha himself. My name is Fahian, and I was born in 337 AD, which is nearly 1700 years ago from today. From the moment I was old enough to understand silence, I was drawn to it. My father placed me in a monastery as a child and quickly found peace there. The teachings of the Dharma, the sounds of the bells, the stillness of meditation, these became my life. When my parents came to take me back, I refused. I had already chosen the path of Buddha. For the next 5 decades, I dedicated myself to studying sacred texts, learning everything I could about the life, the words, and the wisdom of the Enlightened One. It was during those years that I encountered the Vinay Pitaka, a text so central to monastic discipline yet incomplete and deteriorating. I was disheartened. I asked, how can we guide others when our source itself is fading away? That was when the thought came, what if I go to India? What if I find the original Vinay Pitaka myself? It was madness, everyone said. I was 62. The journey would take years. It was dangerous, unpredictable, and exhausting. But I couldn't rest while the Dharma was crumbling. I wasn't alone. 4 other monks, brave and faithful, joined me. We packed our robes, scriptures, and few essentials, and then we walked. We moved from China to Kashgar, a long stretch of desert and mountains, then on to Khotan, where Buddhist culture flourished. From there, the road twisted upward into Himalayas. The Himalayas, just saying the name evokes awe and fear. Endless snow, thin air, blinding winds. We had no animals, no guards, no comfort, only our willpower. No sun, no food at times, and no medical attention. One of the monks fell ill. His breath became shallow, his steps slower, and then he collapsed. And he lay dying. He looked at us and said, don't go further, it will kill you. It broke my heart. We buried him in the snow, but still, I couldn't stop. Each step was agony. The frost bit through our bones, but I kept moving forward. I was not walking for myself, I was walking for the truth. Eventually, after weeks of climbing and suffering, I crossed the mountains. I had made it to India. My first destination was Mathura. I called it Matola in my writings, which is the city of peacocks. It was beautiful and spiritual place. From there, I explored the great region known as Madhya Desh, a stretch from Mathura to Patliputra. I had high hopes for Shravasti. It was home to the famous Jitwan monastery, a place where Lord Buddha had once lived and preached. But when I reached it, my heart sank. Nothing remained. The 7-story monastery had been burned to the ground. They said a mouse had accidentally set the roof on fire with a burning wick. Imagine that, a mouse destroying a legacy of centuries. I stood among the ashes. staring at what once was. If I wasn't a Buddhist, I would have used all my powers to push that mouse to burn in hell for eternity. There was nothing to find there anymore, only loss. I kept moving. My journey wasn't over. I headed east toward Patliputra, the once capital of kings, a stronghold of Buddhist wisdom. There, I saw the palace of King Ashoka, its structure, its design. I had never seen anything like it. In my writings, I noted this place seems to be made not by man but by gods themselves. I visited monastery after monastery, spoke to monks, teachers, scholars, but Vinaypitika still eluded me. Until one day I found it, tucked away in Mahayana monastery in Patliputra. It was moment of triumph. I had walked over 10,000 kilometers. I had lost friends, braved storms, climbed the Himalayas, and now I was holding the text I had longed for. But it wasn't over yet. The book was in Sanskrit, a language I did not know, but this ancient Indian language was the origin of nearly every wisdom and knowledge we ever knew. I felt helpless again to be unable to speak this pure, wise language. But giving up wasn't an option. At the age of 70, I started learning Sanskrit. Every day I sat with monks, learning one word at a time. I studied, I wrote, I translated. I spent 3 years translating the Vinay Pitaka into Chinese. 3 years of dedication, of discipline, of finally realizing my purpose. When I completed the translation, tears filled my eyes. Not because it was hard, but because it was worth it. I now carried a bridge between two great civilizations, India and China. The Dharma would live on. With my work done, I traveled to Tamralippi, a great port city on the eastern coast of India. From there, I sailed to Sri Lanka and then made my way back home to China by sea. I was 72 years old by this time. 15 years had passed since I had first stepped out of my monastery in search of these ancient texts. Back in China, I shared everything I had learned. I taught what I had seen. I read aloud from Vinay Pitaka, now in our language. But more importantly, I taught people that age does not define the seeker, that faith can guide one across mountains. Years later, two other monks followed the path I walked, Hien and Singh. They too came to India. They crossed the same mountains, learned the same languages, translated some other texts. I wonder, did they ever feel like giving up? And if they did they think of me? The journey I began as an old man still continues in the hearts of young seekers. My body may have aged, but my spirit walked with Dharma. I did not bring back gold or relics, I brought wisdom. So when someone asks why I did it, I say for truth, for the light that guides us, for the Buddha. Because sometimes to preserve something eternal, you must walk until your legs give out, learn until your mind aches, and believe even when the world tells you to stop.